The horror of armor or harm more. This presentation should help put to rest the widespread myth and belief in war. I think I've taken it to task and put a few nails in that coffin already. Um, I'd like to begin with a verse from Black Sabbath 1970 album, uh, the one with a famous song, I Am Iron Man. The first verse is, the first stanza is very relevant. It begins thus: Has he lost his mind? Can he see or is he blind? Can he walk at all? Or if he moves, will he fall? I think this is about the armored knights of the past. Um, Although I will, of course, alter exactly what that means. Knights of the past. It's not about, this song is not about the Marvel Comics Iron Man, at least not entirely. Whoever wrote this was aware that men dressed in armor weighing 30 to 50 pounds with limited flexibility. Um, the joints don't always work so well, if at all. And other design features seem intended to prevent movement or restrict movement at least. So yes, that stanza seems highly appropriate. Let's discuss a little. Armor, perhaps the most first and most famous reference to armor is in Homer's Iliad, in which Achilles has armor made by the god Hephaestus, as well as a shield, ridiculously heavy shield with several layers of silver, I believe, and so on. It's not meant to be realistic. His one weakness is his Achilles heel. It's another joke. His weakness is wearing the armor, is due to wearing the armor. And, the story about him chasing Hector around an entire city, both men dressed in armor, is a joke. And similar joke is a story about Julius Caesar. I think in Shakespeare, in Shakespeare's play, he reputedly had a contest with, who was it? Brutus. The contest involved swimming across a river while wearing armor. Well, here's a picture of Julius Caesar carrying a scroll in one hand above the water while swimming, while fully dressed in armor. Ridiculous stories of this sort. Just fairy tales, ridiculous. But people perhaps enjoy such nonsense. Um, Here's perhaps the most absurd suit of armor I've ever come across. This is supposed to be Saint Maurice, painted by Cranach, Renaissance painting. I mean, obviously, this is just for show, and well, it probably never existed. But he was supposed to be a famous knight. Yes, I love that helmet. Little pom-poms carrying the flag of it's the Holy Roman Empire, maybe. Highly decorative sword. Everything useless. Um, and how would you put a man in such a thing? Uh, and well, another question is the engineering behind such work is mind-boggling. Um, more complicated than putting and creating a locomotive. And so they might date from the same time, maybe not quite. Um, the, there are abundant images and examples of armor that is simply a mockery if we are expected to believe these suits of armor were used in war. Would this person even see anything? Is he intentionally made to look like he's a bird? Do we really need a beak on the helmet? And he's wearing a crown. Yes, as if kings trudged over battlefields dressed in these absurd devices. How absurd can you make it? No, these were not meant to be worn in battle. This is ridiculous. What kind of vision do you have here? Sword could still go through quite well, so it's not very helpful. That helmet, the helmet of hell. And what's this on the top? Is that to help him fall over? To force his head down? Can't even see where he's going. Just ridiculous. And no, not never worn in war, in battle. Equally ridiculous, a little small, little simpler. The feet, the shoes. Do they even have joints? And these pointy things, can feet fit in them? Or were they forced to grow inside them? Hint, hint, maybe. How much vision would you have? Not enough to function on a battlefield. And these are these solid iron, solid steel gloves? You makes me wonder. Yeah, sure. Why not also hang armor from a horse as if it's not already burdened by the knight also dressed in armor and his ridiculous plume of something attached to his helmet. Right. You would hear this man coming from a mile away, and you could probably, well, push him off his horse very easily. Japanese samurai in full armor with a sword, 1867. We're expected to believe that, yes, these people went to battle dressed in armor like this. And at the same time, this first steam railway line opened on October, in just 5 years later. Somehow, knights in shining armor and locomotives. Um, yeah, I'm not able to have them work together, coincide, be simultaneous. Hmm. This was, I think I took this image from a video produced by a couple of researchers who were uh, wondering what the true purpose of armor is. And they speculated that humans can't really wear them, and that perhaps some alien forms of life or hybrid human worm creatures were wearing them. These arms are a little deformed. His forearm is too long compared to the upper arm. Uh, who could wear such a mask? And a skirt seems just like a corrugated sheet of of steel. Well, could these things have been made to be worn by people, by victims who were to be mocked as they struggled to walk? Perhaps things were thrown at them. I, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the true purpose in the past, about which we know so little. Really, I mean, obviously, this was not meant to help anyone in battle. You can't. What can you see through this? This is meant to make the Iron Man blind and virtually unable to walk. Here's quite a set of armor. I think it's in the Tower of London. This is one that probably weighs in the 50-pound range. Again, look at that helmet. I mean, this is not meant to help anyone see their enemies. This is meant to make life very difficult, and anyone inside this would. Are there even functioning joints here for the knees, for the ankles? No, I don't think so. These flat feet seem attached to the leg, lower leg. These flat shoes. Um, yes, it would be quite a comedy if you're a sadist. Theater of cruelty and good, good what the holy horrors. They've even made armor for a child. Well, you see that my argument make sense now. Obviously, this wasn't intended to be worn by a child on a battlefield. This is a circus of cruelty. That's where it was used. And perhaps worse things were done with armor. I'll get around to that. Yes, whoever was these people, these aristocrats, these geniuses, they were able to make incredibly detailed, intricate, ornamented armor. But they had so much time and energy, they could even make armor for skeletons. Yeah, it amused them. It did, because they were, they are psychopaths. Kings reputedly wore armor as they led their troops into battle. That's another great myth. This is King Charles III of Spain. He's even wearing his jewelry. And Yeah, his jewelry. What do you want to call that? His military ornaments over his armor, and under his armor, or attached to the to the sleeves, are these frilly lacy sleeves. How's that? Do you think maybe the artist and the people behind these paintings, behind these suits of armor, are mocking us, King Charles III, with his wig? Yeah, you need a wig when you march into battle. And he's got his armor. He's got a red sheet, a silken sheet wrapped around his armored waist. How does that make sense? And where's his sword? No, he's got a baton instead. Maybe he can beat uh, his chest and make a nice, like, it's a drum. Play the drums on your chest. Poor man. I don't think he wanted to wear it. There's the so-called parade armor of King Henry II of France. Could be bronze. Again, these gauntlets, so-called gloves, gauntlets. How mobile would he be? What could he see? I even doubt that the the hole in his helmet is at the right height. I think it might be placed a little too high intentionally so that he can't see the floor. He, not the king. Well, whoever. Probably multiple people had to wear this in the circus of cruelty. This is King Henry's helmet. Note that the name Henry has the word hen in it, as in chicken. Do you think maybe the helmet was is designed to remind us of the side profile of a hen or rooster, comb, the beak? You don't say. Yeah, it's all mockery, feathers and horse tails on their helmets. And this is a beautiful piece. Not these are not gloves anymore. He's got mittens. And the waist, please do note the waist. No human, no man could fit inside this, which is why the other researchers speculated about humans, human hybrids, human worm hybrids, or aliens, perhaps. No, that's where the mind goes if you're not ready to think about the circus of cruelty. Here's another one with extremely small waist. I don't know. Is there anywhere for this man to see through? Any slits in this helmet? But let's stay focused on the waists here. Um, here's a detail from Bruegel's The Triumph of Death. Another king wearing a full suit of armor, shoes not designed for walking. The legs, well, perhaps he was exaggerating, but uh, clearly If any, no one, no man could fit inside such armor. Hmm. Um, this is important because, as we'll see in a moment, I suspect I have reason to believe that people were forced into those suits of armor, and it was possible because they had ribs removed surgically to force them into that armor. Removing ribs from a human body, uh, the lower ribs, these so-called floating ribs, because they're all attached to this to one branch. The first six are directly attached, and seven, eight, nine, and 10 are all attached to the same branch. They're the floating ribs. They could be removed. And when you remove them, the lungs um, collapse slightly, weakening the man or woman. And, well, it allows them to fit inside some of these suits of armor. Um, Skeletons with missing ribs have been found, often appearing in rows in European ossuaries and catacombs. AI believes it was done after the people died, or by accident after the death of the person. Um, I have my doubts. Here's a statue of an emaciated Buddha, missing, I believe. Well, it's not an accurate representation of human anatomy, but there should be more ribs going lower, closer to his belly button, quite a bit lower. All the floating ribs are missing. And well, if you're that skinny, maybe you could fit in that armor we saw earlier, the one in the Bruegel painting. Emaciated Buddha. Oh, don't we worship him? Someone took his ribs out, just like, aha, aha, let us not forget. In Genesis, God removed one of Adam's ribs and used it to make Eve. A ridiculous story because we know actually it's women who have one fewer, one less rib than men do, supposedly to accommodate pregnancy, sorry. Here's a rare photograph from I suppose it's from an ossuary or a catacomb. And some of these skeletons do have missing ribs, no floating ribs. Yes, and well, aside from that, they're perfectly intact. So I think they were carefully removed, surgically removed, while these men, I assume, were alive. And now some crazy women are also removing ribs so that they can compete for the narrowest waist on the planet. It's supposed to be sexy. Ugh. Oh, there's another cringeworthy photograph. I just wanted to remind us that we do have a history of deforming humans, the Chinese foot binding tradition. Well, I believe it's all done by the same people, the aristocrats, aristocrats who ruled the world. every land, every city, they introduced these cruel traditions, enforced them to prevent women from running away, they say. That's why this was done. I think it was part of the circus of cruelty. There was no danger of women running away. And let us not forget this very popular topic in the which what shall we call it? The world of speculation and dreaming. These elongated skulls found different places on Earth, but especially in Peru, I believe. This is a part of a great article written by an anthropologist who was dismissing the now popular myth that people with elongated skulls, or deformed skulls mostly, were not so much people, maybe aliens, maybe creatures from another world. No, and this anthropologist went to some effort to explain that these skulls were actually not larger than normal skulls, did not have more volume. They were simply deformed at a very young age. People, this was not a separate species. No, this is deliberate deformation of human skulls during early childhood, from the age of 0 to 3, while the skull is still somewhat pliable. Of course, it's a crime against humanity, it's child abuse, it's a theater of cruelty. But let's go back to armor. This is another close-up from a painting by Bruegel. I have discussed it in another video lecture. This man, as I mentioned once before, his face seems to have grown inside this helmet. It doesn't look comfortable. It doesn't look like it would have been put on him. Looks like he's grown into it. He's in some kind of uh, doghouse. I don't know what else to call it. A shelter in which no man can stand. It's too short. So I speculate that perhaps he's there because he has no legs. That's why the legs are not visible here. His legs were surgically removed. And he's surrounded by meat. Slices, round slices of meat. As if leg, are these slices of leg? Well, I speculated earlier it's beef and pork, but well, who knows for certain? It's all very disturbing and disgusting. This is the full painting. And why did we need this? Ah, yes, yes, yes. The painting is titled Cocaine, which is refers to a popular legend that the land of cocaine is the land of plenty, the plenty of meat. Um, and I did trip over that wrong pronunciation in that other lecture, cocaine and cocaine. Hmm. And now I think, yes, that's intentional. It's uh, it's a pun. These men are intoxicated with cocaine. Cocaine is a painkiller, very useful in amputations. I did mention that this foreshortened arm with this giant piece of sausage is meant to suggest that the arm was amputated and the arm is meat. Cocaine. Yes, it acts as a local anesthetic. And it's probably been used for hundreds of years for various cruel purposes. Well, we suddenly move on from the age of armor, knights in shining armor, to modern entertainment. And this RoboCop fellow is kind of the continuation of the imaginary knight, imaginary RoboCop. We will never be saved by RoboCops, and perhaps RoboCops will never walk among us. Iron Man, of course, that famous character who's been around now for, yikes, 60 years, still making movies about a man dressed in a suit of armor. But this one is highly mobile and powerful. He's going to save mankind. Yes, technology will come to our rescue, won't it? It's made life so much better for us. So a lot of people believe who haven't looked carefully at statistics and who don't really know the past. Another form of armor, a man, motorcycles. Perhaps they should be wearing suits of full body suits of armor, not just helmets. I've seen I've seen people driving motorcycles here without helmets, but with a surgical mask, a COVID mask. Yes, just to protect them from those flying viruses. Might kill them while they're driving. Crazy times. Well, crazy technology. These things kill about 6,000 drivers, motorcyclists, every year in the US alone. Um, and cars are another form of armor, aren't they? Armor on wheels, armor for your whole family. You can sit in a car, feel safe, and not worry that 40,000 people on US roads alone die in car accidents every year and over 1 million worldwide annually. Planes are much safer. Trains too, but yes, they've made trains um, not so available in North America, so and most of the world. That should do it for today. This presentation on armor, the horrors of armor. I don't think museums have enough armor to make an argument that they were ever used in battle by thousands of people. They're too difficult to make, really. I think they were used um, in the circus of cruelty to cause pain and suffering. And perhaps they were also used as execution suits for electrocution. They are highly electrically conductive, and I have argued elsewhere that electrocution became their preferred means of killing, executing human cattle I hate to use that phrase, but that's that's what it. I don't know what else to call humans who are raised to be executed and eaten. Um, let's go back for memory's sake. Yes. And I suppose these suits of armor were reused by different victims, four different victims, I should say. How many died in this suit of armor? How many were killed or mocked? Yes, and well, that's not even the worst. This, is like I said, you can't wear this without having ribs removed. Well, as I said, that should do it for today. Um, this is, of course, in part also or this was also a lecture about technology. And well, where is my contact sheet? I am so forgetful. It will do. It will do for now. Anyone who wants to contact me can find me at Prophet of Fiction at proton.me.